Hi there guys, Tom Quayle here for Sound Effects Premiere in Ormskirk. Now I'm here today to give you a demo of this fantastic Boss ES-8 pedal switcher. There's a few pedal switchers on the market, but this one is pretty unique due to its amazing feature set. Essentially, it functions like any other pedal switcher, allowing you to plug up to 8 pedals into its loops, the onboard loops. There's 6 mono loops and 2 stereo loops. And in that respect, as I say, it functions like any other pedal switcher. However, there's a load of features that make it very unique within the market. So for instance, allowing you to switch the loops in any order you like. So you could have, normally you'll have loop 1 through 8 going straight through each other. You could shift any of the loops in any order that you like. Very, very cool. Amazing MIDI functionality, allows you to send MIDI program changes if you have MIDI capable pedals. If you're a Strymon guy, or like me, if you use an Eventide H9, any pedal that's got MIDI on board. Also allows you to send MIDI continuous controllers, which allows you to do things like use an expression pedal to control, let's say, the delay mix on your MIDI capable pedals, or assign tap tempo function to one of the buttons on the ES-8. Just tons and tons of features. Now there's so many features that we're going to do quite a long demo here, going through some of the features that you can actually use. And obviously, if you're in the market for a pedal switcher, this is really going to be a helpful unit for you. Unfortunately, I have to give it back after I've done this demo, and I really don't want to because it's absolutely fabulous. So what I've done in order to kind of show you what's going on with this unit is I've built 6 patches that enable you to see some of the features that are built into this pedal. But before we go through those patches, I want to just run through the ins and outs that you've got on the actual unit itself so that you can see how much flexibility there is, first of all, in terms of plugging pedals in and what you can do with those ins and outs. Okay, so first of all, if we look at the actual unit itself, you can see down here, I've got it on my pedal board. We've got 2 inputs, okay? So 2 ins and 2 outs. Now the cool thing about that is if you've got 2 inputs, it means that you can basically plug either 2 guitars in here and have completely separate setups for each guitar. So you could have a guitar going input 1 and then going out of output 1 to another, to an amplifier. Then another guitar going into input 2 using output 2 to another amplifier, and just with one button press or one preset, you can actually switch between those 2 setups, which is really, really cool. Okay, so that's the first thing, 2 inputs, 2 outputs, and the outputs are both stereo outputs, by the way. So if you wanted to run your effects in stereo, you can do. We've also got, 6 send and returns for your pedals. So you plug your pedals into those, 6 inputs and or send and returns, as I say, for standard kind of pedals. And then there's 2 stereo send and returns. So you can basically send to a stereo effects unit like, you know, a delay or a reverb pedal, or some kind of stereo chorus if you've got one, for instance, and then you can return that back in stereo or in mono if you so desired. I'm running in mono today, just real simple setup, and you can return in mono or stereo and basically have all of your effects running either to stereo amps or to a single mono as you so desire. So really, really cool in terms of the basic ins and outs that you've got. Now the ins and the outs are all buffered if you so desire, really high quality buffer, or you can switch that buffer off per preset, which is fairly insane. Really, really cool. And there's also numerous expression pedal and control pedal inputs. You can see I've got, I guess you can't see it on the actual video, but I've got a Boss foot switch down there, which basically functions like a tap tempo. You could put expression pedals in here and assign them to almost any parameter that your heart desires, via MIDI or via actual control outputs. Say if your pedal's got an expression pedal input, you can assign that via the ES-8 as well. Really, really, really cool. It also has control jack outputs for doing channel switching on your amplifier, switching effects loops on and off, switching reverbs on and off. And again, all of these things can be stored per preset. Just super, super, super cool. Then we've got the MIDI functionalities. So you can see just here, we've got MIDI in and MIDI out. Now the MIDI in allows you to control the ES-8 via a MIDI foot switch. Say if you use this as your switching system at the back of the stage and you want a MIDI controller on the front of the stage, you can do that as well. And then there's also MIDI out, which is what I'm using to send MIDI signals to my Eventide H9, which again, you can just about see it. It's this pedal just here, my Eventide H9, to switch patches and to do other numerous cool things, which you'll see as we go through. Okay, so let me go through a couple of these patches. I want to just kind of show you some of the features of this in a real-time scenario. Now I'm running through today a roll and blues cube. We're using the clean channel, just plugged straight in with my pedals. So all the effects and all the drives are coming from the pedal board, but the blues cube is my sort of base for my tone. And this absolutely stunning Nags. Both of these products, or all of these products I should say, are available from Sound Effects Premiere, so you can check them out if you so desire. So my basic clean tone I've got here, I've got a patch called Clean Hall. Now again, just straight away, this is unique to the ES-8. Being able to name your patches like this is just really, really cool. Now we can store a ton of patches here. As with all of these pedal switching units, we've got banks, and each of these banks can contain up to 8 presets, okay? So I'm on bank 0, and I'm gonna go to preset 1. You can see my LEDs flashing. If I hit preset 1, that instantly loads it up. There's no pops, there's no clicks, there's nothing. Everything inside is analog internal relays. There's no sort of weird kind of analog to digital conversion going on here or anything to affect your tone. It's all analog all the way through with lots and lots of analog relay paths. So here's my clean tone with, I'm using the Eventide H9 for a hall reverb and the flashback delay for a delay basically. That's pretty much all we've got going on here. Really, really pretty, pristine, clean sounds. Absolutely beautiful. There's no noise from the unit at all. It's really, really, really high quality audio routing. Okay, now a couple of cool things straight away. On a normal pedal switcher, that would be it, okay? You would set the preset, you'd turn your loops on and off the ones you wanted, and then you're done. You save it as a preset. Well, the ES-8 goes much further than that. It allows me to assign any of the buttons that I've got here. So I've got my 8 loop selectors, bank up, bank down, mute, and memory and manual, so I can go into manual mode if I so desire. Now, these 6 presets, what I've done is I've assigned some of the buttons to do other functions. So immediately, straight away, I've assigned button 7 on the unit, so this button here, to bring in one of the other effects on my board. Okay, so if I'm playing and I hit button 7, you can hear that's bringing in my nebulous, which is basically functioning as a rotary simulator, okay? Now, that means that without switching presets, if I want to have another modulation effect in or bring delay in, for instance, I can assign any of the loops to one of these buttons. It doesn't have to be loop 7, by the way. This can be assigned to any of the loops. I've got it assigned to loop 3 at the moment. So again, if I switch that on, and you can hear it's instantaneous as it switches. Now, button 8, I've got assigned to my Wampler latitude, which basically brings in a tremolo. And again, you can hear that there's no popping, there's no clicking. You'll be able to hear my foot touching the actual unit. But apart from that, no popping, no clipping or anything like that. It's just pure clean signal in terms of the signal path. Really impressive. But you can do other things. So for instance, I also have assigned to the mute button a MIDI CC, which is going to turn the tuner on my Eventide H9. Now obviously the H9 is slightly out of shot here, but when I press the mute button, the tuner comes on my H9 and it allows me to have the function of the tuner from the actual, from the ES-8 without having to actually go to the H9 and actually press both buttons down on the H9 to actually get the tuner. It's a bit more laborious. It's sending, I've programmed it when I hit that mute button to send a MIDI controller to the H9, which is going to turn that tuner on. Just a super, super cool function, especially for stage use. You know, you don't want to have to go to all your pedals and kind of assign different functions to them. So that's patch 1. Now there's one other super cool thing about this. If I go into the edit mode just here, now I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this display, and I go to the loops, so I'm just going to move across here, the loop structure, I've actually got my delay and reverb running in parallel. There's a couple of mixers built into the ES-8. Now they allow you to be much more flexible with your audio routing. Now what that means is, the way I've got this assigned is loop 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are running into each other in a normal way. I've then got my volume pedal, and then what I've done is I've split the signal, so it's gone off into 2 paths. And those 2 paths, basically the top path has got the delay, the reverb on it, and the bottom path has got the delay on it. Now normally what you'd have to do is you'd have to choose an order. You'd have to choose, do I want to run my delay into my reverb, or do I want to run my reverb into my delay? And either way, one of those is going to get mushed up a little bit. Have a listen to how clean my delay and reverb are here. That reverb is just super clean, super pristine. If I crank the actual level of the delay, so clean. So that means that I can assign any of the pedals to run in parallel with each other if I don't want them to meet. So if I've got two drive pedals, for instance, I could run both drive pedals without combining them together so that they boost one another and kind of stack. I could run them together in parallel so that they never merge and create really unique sounds. Or I could have a clean tone running at the same time as a drive tone. Just super cool things like that, basically. So my reverb and delay are running in parallel. So I'm going to exit that and show you a couple of these other patches. So patch 2 on here is called clean delay. And again, absolutely instantaneous switching, noiseless switching. This is basically now selected one of the presets on my H9. It's selected a digital delay preset. Now I've programmed button 2 or preset 2 to send a MIDI patch change to my H9 to select a digital delay sound. So now we've got this. You can hear that modulated delay. Beautiful sounding delay, okay? And again, what's really cool about this is I can actually assign one of these buttons, I think it's button 7 I've got assigned here, to work as a tap tempo function for the H9. So when I hit button 7 here, now again, it's going to be kind of hard for you guys to see, but it's updating a tempo map on the actual ES-8. So my ES-8 now is controlling the tempo of every single MIDI pedal that will be on my board. I've only got one, I've got an H9, but let's tap really fast. So I've set 204 as the BPM, listen now. Okay, now now it's 111 BPM, and this is going straight to my H9 and setting the tempo. Super cool. Again, it means I don't have to go anywhere near my H9 if I don't want to. I can assign any button I like. It could have been button 3, it could have been button 7, button 8, it could have been banked down. The cool thing about the ES-8 is it's super flexible in terms of what you assign to what function. And again, all that's doing is it's actually sending MIDI clock data, okay, so synchronization data to my H9 and telling it, this is the tempo, you need to assign this as your main master tempo. So whatever I assign there, and I could dial in a tempo as well, I don't have to use the tap tempo function. And every single tempo is saved per preset, okay? So if I want a preset delay on here to be 120 BPM, I can assign it and it's saved on the preset. Every time I select that preset, it's going to tell my H9 or my Strymon timeline or whatever MIDI-based delay or time-based unit you've got, that it needs to be exactly that tempo. Okay, so let's move to another patch. Here we've got clean para delay. This is basically a reverb and a delay built into, sorry, it's a delay, a parallel delay, sorry, I should say, from the flashback again. But this time, you can hear we've selected a chorus from the H9, and again, it's sent a patch change to that H9 to select that chorus. And again, I'm switching in and out effects based on buttons 7 and 8, so that I can bring in other effects just by pressing those two buttons. Really cool. And again, the delay's running in parallel so that it's completely, it's not mixing with the chorus at all. Okay, so again, really cool. Really easy to set up as well. Let's bring that delay mix down a little bit. Just super, super clean, okay? So let's move on to patch number 4. So patch number 4 is basically a super kind of affected reverb sound from the H9. And again, it's selected the relevant preset on the H9. You just tell it which program you want to select on the H9 and you dial that in via the edit menu. Simple as that, it selects the right preset. Now I've assigned my volume pedal as a separate loop for the volume pedal. Okay, you can also use it as an effects send and return for your amp, so you can run what's called the 4-cable method, which is a bit more than I want to cover in this video, but you can do that. You guys who are interested in the 4-cable method, trust me, works great with the ES-8 if you want to run effects in front of your amp and in the effects loop of your amp as well. Not something we're going to demonstrate today. Now I've placed my volume pedal just before the H9, so that as I bring my volume down, I can swell in a chord and then drop the volume back, and all of the delay and reverb from the H9 is still going to be there. So check this out. Super cool. So you can assign where that volume pedal goes. Now I could place that volume pedal after the H9. Let me do that now so I can show you. I go into edit, I go to the patch mode, loop structure, I take my volume pedal and I'm going to place it just by basically assigning where I want that volume pedal to be. Now I've placed it after the H9. Really simple to do. Now check this out. Now I'm going to, every time I drop the volume back, all of my effects are going to disappear. I'm now using it like a master volume for the entire signal chain. So here we go. Now you see when I drop the volume pedal back, we lose all the signal. And it's really simple. You can't do that normally, moving the volume pedal around or any other pedal around with a normal loop switching unit. Okay, that's just very unique to the ES-8. I think there's only one other pedal switcher on the market that does that. So that's very, very cool indeed. Okay, so that's another patch. Now let's go to patch 5. Now this is super cool. This is basically using my dual fusion pedal as a drive pedal. So let's bring the volume back up. Now what I've got here is, I've got channel 1 on the dual fusion, okay? And we've got this kind of drive sound basically. Let me go to the neck pickup here. Now, when I hit 7 here, I've assigned 7 to switch on the H9, which is a basically an octave. It's a delayed octave, so we get this. Really cool. Again, it's just super easy to use, really easy to edit these patches to do pretty much whatever your imagination can desire. It's very, very easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you a bit of the user menu in a different video, just show you how you can edit things and edit loops. But that kind of gives you an idea of some of the functionality that you can use. And I want to show you one more thing before we finish. So patch number 6 here is basically it's the dual fusion pedal. Now the dual fusion pedal is 2 pedals in one and you can stack them together, okay? But generally you would only be able to stack them in the order that you chose on the pedal. So you stack channel 1 into channel 2 or channel 2 into channel 1, and whichever one you pick you're stuck with, okay? But with the ES-8 you can switch the order of them. So on one patch you could have channel 1 going into channel 2, and then on another patch channel 2 going into channel 1, because you can switch the order of the loops. The other cool thing is, at the moment I've only got channel 1 on. Okay, so that's just channel 1. Now, I've assigned button 7, I believe, to turn on channel 2 as well. Okay, so we get this. I'm going to go to the bridge pickup so you can really hear this. Hear that cool boost we're getting when I do that? Now, if I increase the volume and the gain, okay, of channel 2, and again, do the same thing. So that's just channel 1. Now if I hit button 7, super useful. Now think about how many different things we've assigned to that 7 and 8 button there. You know, the actual, again, remember these are not functioning as loops here, we can assign them to anything within the pedal. Okay, so that gives you an overview of some of the functions of the ES-8. What I want to do in another video is I'm going to show you some of the deeper kind of menu functions, just show you exactly how easy this thing is to edit. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed that kind of overview of the ES-8. This is probably the most fully featured pedal switcher on the market. I'm totally blown away by it. My name's Quayle. I'm here for Sound Effects Premiere in Ormskirk, and I will see you soon, guys. Cheers.